My name's Robin Harrison, and welcome back to Right to the Source. And I'm here as ever with the Mary Kate to my Ashley, Mr. Ed Birkin. Ed, how are you this fine day?
I'm good, thank you. I'm just a bit concerned that you look like you're in some kind of interrogation stroke room stroke dungeon and you're talking about the Olsen twins. Yes, I do know who they are. Well,
You
I did.
do?
I mean, I haven't heard of them in about 20 years. They were on Disney Channel, yeah?
I don't know if they're on Disney Channel. They are now a fashion designers or something. They have a company that makes a very ordinary looking pair of trousers, but sells them for about £2,000.
£2,000?
Seriously?
Let me have a look at this.
It's called
Haven't we
The
did?
Row.
I mean, generally, this is your fault. We haven't even started the podcast and we're already getting sidetracked. Olsen twins trousers. Is this another your fact that's not true?
Genuinely. It's
How
called
to
The Row.
How
It's a
to dress
fashion brand.
like the the row. How to dress like the Olsen twins.
I
This
mean,
fall.
you thought me being in what looks like an interrogation chamber and talking about the Olsen twins was creepy, and then you Google how to dress like the Olsen
No,
twins.
that's the first thing that came up. Okay, so
Okay.
some discounts. The row gala wide leg wool pants, $1,150. I mean, seriously?
Like, apparently so. I mean, it's just a throwaway line, and yes, you are right. I am currently recording from my basement,
Sorry, can we
which
just go back? How do you know what the Olsen twins are doing nowadays?
because when I googled famous duos before this to quickly pick out something to call you, it came up the Olsen twins fashion brand is one of
Ah, so you have been preparing for the podcast, like it. Do you know how old the Olsen twins are?
the early 60s.
What? Early 60s?
Yeah, why not? Early
They're
60s.
39, you weirdo.
What's weird about that? You said have a guess. I had a guess. I don't
I'm
know
assuming one of the people in this picture is their mum. Either that or things haven't gone well. Yeah, anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
Yes, Robin. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction to the podcast. You know that you can go on Amazon or Dunelm or IKEA or something and get lampshades. Make it look a bit less interrogation-like.
It doesn't look great, I'm not going to lie.
And that window, I mean, does it actually look out over anything?
It's actually a little skylight, so it goes down and then light shines down, so you get this beautiful box, a sense of the outside world and light rather than standing in the basement. But look, it's a work in progress. We're getting there. By the next episode, I desperately hope I've got some pictures up because I am aware it looks a bit bare.
But the room you were in before, whatever one that was actually really nicely kitted out and good. And now you're in a basement that looks as though it. I mean, even the window doesn't look like real light.
That is actually light coming from the outside.
It looks like you're going to put an X-ray up there and start looking at it.
I might do that for next week. I'll try and get an X-ray and put it over that.
Yeah. Anyway, right. I believe our podcast last time was pretty long, so
Yes, it was, yeah. And huge thanks again to Khaled Ali from IBEA for joining us. And thank you to you as well, of course, Ed,
yes,
for finding the website midway
and for
through.
such insightful questions. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Right. What has been in the news this week, Robin? Come on.
Well, we are recording in the wake of, I'm not sure I'd call it a bombshell announcement, but a surprise announcement nonetheless, that Kevin Mullally has stepped down as Chief Executive of the General Commercial Gaming Regulatory Authority, which is, of course, the gambling regulator in the UAE. He's going to be replaced...
Question.
Okay.
IGB talk a lot about the UAE licensing and stuff. Should people actually care that much?
I think it's very interesting for, first of all, in the initial stages for that land-based market. Look, there's the potential to have one license per emirate. Some of the emirates are a bit more conservative. They won't go in for it.
Okay,
However,
realistically, there's in the medium term, there's going to be one casino, yeah, which Wynn are doing. Is that right?
Yeah, Wynn Al Marjan Islands, that will open in 2027. There's scope for developments in Dubai, there's scope for developments in Abu Dhabi, and you're looking at a market, and Wynn's projections are around 3 to 5 billion at maturity.
Okay,
For
so
that land-based sector.
Okay, so
Small
Wynn's got
but
that.
high-value audience.
Okay, so Wynn's got that, where there's going to be rich people gambling. So that's fine. VIP market, that's known. Lottery. Are people going to be allowed to do it, and do people actually want to do it?
People are doing it.
Okay.
So if you read iGamingBusiness.com, and if you've read it for a few years, so it's www.igamingbusiness, to spell them.
I
Yeah?
spell EYE because it never seems to work. It says the website doesn't work.
No, it's spelled AYE.
Ah, because
Yeah,
you're
iGaming
Scottish.
business.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
So if you read that, you'd actually see that the lottery license was awarded to a company called Momentum LLC, and sales for tickets for the UAE lottery, as it is known, went online in December last year, and actually in October, the first ever winner of like the absolute top prize, which I think was something like 100 million dirhams, was announced. So someone's won the top prize. So people are actually doing it.
So 100, so that's $27 million. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this guy stepped down as head of the regulator.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's quite an interesting thing because obviously there's still a lot to do and there's still a lot to come from that market. For example, online casino and online sports betting licensees. We've seen a number of online suppliers licensed, but we haven't seen any operators certified.
But there's still debate about, isn't it, about whether if you get a license, there's going to be one license per emirate, yeah, and whether you're allowed to then just do it in your own emirate or whether you're allowed to do cross-border. Because, for instance, if Dubai don't want something, then they're not going to let people say, oh, you're licensed in somewhere else and therefore you can just come and have our players use it. And then whether Emiratis are going to be able to gamble or not.
Well, they are not in the real money gaming places, so that's going to be the casinos and online sports betting, online casino. But if you look at that population breakdown, you're probably looking at 88% expats, roughly.
I actually did some figures on this a while ago.
Oh, did
I mean,
you?
if I'd have known that we were actually going to be talking about the UAE, then it probably would have helped with the preparation. So, here we go. I'm glad I'm on my computer. I estimate the current online market is between 185 and 225 million US dollars.
But that will be an offshore market currently.
Yeah. And the market post-regulation, if you allow advertising and multiple operators, could be $400 to $450 million. However, given the limited number of operators, I assume one or two initially, this is likely to be lower. So I say kind of maybe halfway between two, so 300 to 350 million GGR and about 2/3 onshore. And I kind of estimated, and this is, I put best guess, 50-50 sports, iGaming, maybe a little more weighted to sports. Yeah. And actually, other people have, that's it, I saw someone else gave me a figure. The market potential could be around $1 billion, but the serviceable market's going to be 15 to 45%, so about 150 to 450. So similar to my numbers. Okay. Yeah, offshore currently 200, if everything open could be up towards 500. It's probably going to be around 300, 350, 2/3 onshore maybe. There you go. We've got data, and I didn't even have to prepare it.
Wow, we haven't had that for a few weeks.
We haven't.
No. So, what else has been going on?
I can give you some other data if you want.
Yeah, I'd love a bit more data. I mean,
Okay.
what interesting things has H2 been tracking and analysing and cogitating over? No one uses that word anymore.
No, they don't. I wouldn't even know. So the most expensive pair of the Row trousers are the straight leg leather pants at $6,900.
So if either of the Olsen twins listen to the podcast, which I assume at least one of them does, Ed is very interested in a sample pair of these trousers for review purposes. Of course, you get a shout out on the podcast to an audience of slightly more than we thought.
Yeah, damn right.
Yeah,
I mean yes.
It's been
leather
asking for
leather/silk. Selvier's lambskin leather pants. It's nice to see. I mean, this is going to upset some people, but it's nice to actually see some proper leather trousers rather than all this PVC fake leather stuff. I say as someone who used to have a share in a tannery until it went bust, so I'm very pro leather.
Pro leather.
Until it went bust for the second time, I should clarify. The first time, that's when I helped buy it out of administration. But
Part
anyway,
of the powerful leather lobby.
um, no, well, I mean, look, it's the hide are a byproduct of the meat industry, and therefore it's a shame to let it all go to waste. And instead, you think that by creating more plastic, that's a better thing.
No, I mean,
Really?
yeah, all right. Wow, wow. I mean, we are just tail spinning into different diversions. I do actually agree with you. I think if people are going to consume animal products, people should maximize the use out of them. I think the way that we consume a lot of these things is far too selective. It's like having, kind of like a background in kitchens. Very big believer in, the Fergus Henderson nose to tail thing because St. John is the best restaurant in London and possibly the world.
Another stat going
Yeah.
away from expensive leather trousers.
Is it on gambling?
The cheapest price of trousers are $650 at some filled slit front skinny pants. Anyway, gambling. Now I'm going to save the date for the gambling for when we talk about what we were going to talk about last week.
Well, the week
Then now,
before.
week before.
Yeah, so basically it's taken us 2 weeks to get to talking about OPAP and Uganda. And I'm sure there was something else that I sent to you and said I want to talk about it in this week's
Oh,
podcast.
you did? Yeah. I sent an email about it myself. That's the Malta case with
Yes.
Kindred about people being able to.
Well,
No, Mr. Green. Mr.
Yeah,
Green.
Mr. Green. Yeah, so that's an interesting one. It's kind of known as Bill 55. And essentially, what it says is provided the activity is licensed in Malta, you're insulated from prosecution, if it's not legal in other markets.
Well, yeah, there's two bits to it. There's what's so insulated from prosecution that you're going to find. Which the big issue there is that it's effectively going against the whole European courts and European law. And the second bit was then the player who wanted to. There's a prosecution of doing it, but it's also players wanting to reclaim losses because they said it's illegal.
Yeah.
And then this came around because they said, well, actually, we want you to freeze some of their assets and bank accounts so that we can get the losses. And Malta is saying no. So, do you have anything to say on that? Because I wrote something.
You wrote something. You have a prepared statement to read out on this. I kind of want to hear the statement.
Well, it's less a statement, but the...
Could you read it out in the style of a Premier League chairman who's just fired their manager under acrimonious circumstances?
What part of... Let's say he's northern.
Is he going to be northern?
All right, listen up. Look, there's a bit of disharmony in the dressing room, but we want to say thanks to Frank. He's put a lot into the club. It was a mutual agreement of parting ways. I think we both know that it was time, and we're looking forward to a new chapter. And I'd like to thank Dave for stepping in, as interim manager to prepare the team. And we're looking to the future. But thanks again for all of Frank's hard work. As a club, we're going to pull together in these difficult times and try and get the points to get us up the table. Any questions? Speak to Jane. Thanks.
I don't understand how any of that relates to Malta's Bill 55.
Oh, I thought you were talking about... Oh, okay. I was giving what would happen if I just sacked the manager.
No, I was saying read it in the style of a chairman who has just sacked their manager.
Ah, I get it. I just need to try and understand what I've written. So the underlying dispute stems from cross-border stuff and players being allowed to recover their losses. Players in Austria have sued in the courts to recover their losses. Malta
And
said...
Germany.
Yeah.
There's these live cases in Germany and Austria. I think the initial one was the Ince case. It was a player called Sebat Ince. I'm pretty sure.
And then the Maltese passed something that says we're allowed to freedom to provide services, which has been kind of completely just... Everyone's pretty much accepted that's not the case now when it comes to gambling, and it's been proven. It's been ruled on. And they've said that...
It's quite literally the European Commission under Barnier.
Yeah.
I think it was, briefly Prime Minister of France a few years ago, said that the 2017 was it, that the EU wouldn't be taking up infringement cases related to gambling because that was a state issue.
Yeah. And so, the European Court of Justice effectively said that, they can restrict freedom to provide services if it's justified and proportionate, etc. Malta said, so they tried to sue Maltese companies cover their losses. Malta said that declared foreign lawsuits against Maltese licensed companies inadmissible and bars Maltese courts from recognising and enforcing judgments. What is like to happen next is the European Court of Justice will likely reaffirm national gambling controls can restrict freedom to provide services if justified, i.e. each member state may impose its own licensing rules.
Yep.
And therefore Malta's Article 56 Gaming Act probably breaches EU law. It will probably... the account preservation order, so that they will freeze assets. They may justify issuing it, but that's a bit of a kind of, there's certain things such as, is there an urgent need and real risk? Mm-hmm. But the broader implications is it's likely to reinforce member states' power to regulate gambling in their own jurisdiction, strike down Malta's laws that undermine mutual enforcement, and confirm EU debt recovery tools must be interpreted robustly to ensure effective judicial protection across border, i.e. potentially they could go ahead and say, we can freeze assets to recover losses. Now, I have an issue here, personally, is that I disagree with all the Malta stuff. I don't believe that EU law says cross-licensing, jurisdiction isn't there. So people who are operating in Austria without an Austrian licence are, according to most member states' belief in the European, operating illegally. Okay, the fact you're in Malta doesn't matter. That is not saying for me, but for most people believe that's true. Okay? Yeah. I also do. But so, if someone wants to come after them and say, fine them for operating illegally and stuff like that, then I think that is, one of the risks you take of operating in markets where you're not legally licensed. However, for a player to gamble with someone, lose money, and then say, they don't have a license, I want my money back. I mean, you kind of know what you're doing. And if you don't, you should learn to check the site. And if it was a licensed site, you wouldn't get your money back. So the fact that these guys aren't licensed doesn't matter, as far as I'm concerned. You have entered a contract. You would expect to be paid if you won. If you lost, you shouldn't try and get your money back. Suck it up.
Well, this is it. There's no talk about players reimbursing operators for amounts they won during that period.
No. So I just think this guy's... I don't say an idiot, that's wrong. But I think he's just suck it up. You decided to gamble. You did a contract with someone. You spun or you placed a bet wager on a thing. That's fine. Speaking, actually, of which, on a very related note, but slightly unrelated, what really got me... Okay. Did you hear about that Coinbase? The Coinbase CEO on their conference call? That is absolutely appalling. I mean, that is pretty... I don't know exactly if it legally is, but that pretty much stinks of and admitting market manipulation. And as someone who runs an exchange like Coinbase exchange, I think it's moronic. I cannot believe he actually said that on the call. I would be absolutely livid. Guys have lost thousands of pounds because he literally went, they've bet on me saying the word Web3, so I'm going to say it on this call because of... that guy should be heavily, heavily sanctioned. Yeah. Fired.
It's the equivalent of Wayne Shaw eating a pie in the bench.
I was about to say that, yes.
It is literally, it is Wayne Shaw, but in a situation where...
Explain that for people who aren't familiar with non-league FA Cup or whatever it was.
I think it was against Arsenal. I'm pretty sure it was quite a big team. So essentially there was a keeper for a non-league team that had progressed through the FA Cup rounds to play against Arsenal, who are, of course, a Premier League team. Now, their reserve goalie, Wayne Shaw, was...
And therefore, this was being televised, and it was quite a big game of, underdogs, so, there's a lot of media on it.
Yeah, big kind of mismatch. But their reserve goalkeeper, Wayne Shaw, was quite a husky gentleman. And I think it was Sunbets. There was a jokey market, will he, eat a pie during the game? He saw it, thought it was funny, and sat on the bench eating a pie. A few people won a bit of money. He said it was all a bit of fun. That is, let's face it, it's essentially spot fixing. Obviously, a lot of scrutiny, disciplinary action, probably really made this guy's life a misery. Without any real malice in it, let's be honest here.
Well, didn't he kind of told some friends he was going to do it, didn't he, and they won money. So I suppose,
there's that kind of integrity angle as well, and that's similar
which is the same as this one. As far as I'm concerned, that guy should be fired, heavily reprimanded and face some form of punishment. And what gets me more is if I were an analyst of that company or an investor, knowing the guy who's running it is that stupid to kind of say that on a conference call and think it's all funny.
Well, I
Like,
don't
talk about a huge misjudgment. I wouldn't want someone running my company who had that kind of misjudgment. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Well, we don't want to call him. Well, we have already called him stupid, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, it is
He's not
shocking.
stupid necessarily. He just did a very stupid thing, in my
Yes,
opinion.
his actions were misguided. Right? Shall we actually talk about what
No,
we
no,
threatened?
no,
to
no,
talk
because I think
about
there's
in 2 weeks?
another element to this of okay, what happened? There's a guy eating a pie who then, because it's gambling, a regulated thing, there were then issues and people making an integrity, etc. Now, will anything come back from this? Because it was on Polymarket,
Yeah, Polymarket. So it was on the prediction market.
and so can anything actually be done from this? And is this then go around the bit what we were talking about a bit with Khaled last week? But the general thing of is there any integrity protections and stuff around these prediction markets? And is this just highlighting the massive issue there is with prediction markets, that you don't have these same rules? Forget about the fact that states may not want, California doesn't want online sports betting, and the tribes don't want them to have online sports betting, and therefore it goes against tribal
It's
sovereignty.
a bit more nuance than that.
Yeah,
but
but you can't operate in online sports betting in California. Okay.
No.
So suddenly that goes just breaks through all of that state sovereignty. Even states where you can legally wager, there's just no protection from these prediction markets. Like, I think if this had happened on a FanDuel or a DraftKings or other sites available, then there probably would have been more comeback, because he's effectively saying, he is manipulating that market. Now, he may not have done it for anyone's particular financial gain, may have just manipulated it because he thought it was funny,
but
he still manipulated a market.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is worrying thing about these prediction markets. You don't feel they are fully formed, but they're allowed to grow with impunity. And let's face it, this goes back to that meme stock thing, where a load of people on Robinhood, saying, I think, what was it called? Was it GameStop? I think it was a shop that sold video games. Loads and loads of people bought the stock. Their stock price absolutely skyrocketed.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just almost as a jokey thing, this kind of meme stock, and a lot of people made a lot of money out of that. And it's that same attitude that where on one level you have some of the companies talking about these as financial instruments and therefore legitimate, carefully regulated, but then you see someone doing that on a call, and then kind of talking about it as if this is a funny thing.
And Coinbase's response, so a company spokesperson, can't say spokesman, stated the comments were made in a light-hearted, offhand way and confirmed internal controls prohibit employees from participating in prediction markets related to the company. Like, you can probably tell it makes me angry.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me angry because sports betting is a highly regulated, highly taxed, highly controlled industry. And then you have this level of disruption, and it's being treated as a bit of a joke. It's bad for the industry. And they are part of this industry, whether they want to call themselves, whether they want to say, oh no, we're not gambling. You seem to be using a lot of the same mechanics and the same markets to do it.
Yeah, okay, fine. It wasn't a sports betting thing. But how can you say this isn't like a share price going up or the price of oil? And, we can argue back and forth about whether investing in the stock market is gambling or not.
Oh, there's a lot of things where it's the same kind of thing. You're essentially betting on an outcome.
Yeah, is someone going to say a word during a conference call? That's just gambling. Like, the fact it's on sports or not doesn't make a difference. Mm-hmm. And he's manipulated, he's manipulated it.
Yeah, he's being sure. Being sure, but he doesn't get a pie.
No. Anyway, so the fact that they think it's fine is just even more outrageous. Yeah. But anyway.
It's shocking.
Right, should we quickly talk about OPAP and Uganda?
Yeah, let's rush through the thing we spent 2 weeks talking about as if we built it up and now we're just going to quickly dash it out. So do you want to start with OPAP or...
No, I'll start with Uganda.
Okay.
So Uganda, go on, you start.
All right, so Uganda, the one thing that jumped out at me, and if I'm remembering this right, and I actually did double check this against some H2 information, so it better be right. Around 2019, because I remember it was pre-COVID, I think the president said that none of the existing licensees, open license market, none of the existing licensees would have certifications renewed. And essentially what that would mean, according to the finance minister, I think it was Uganda would essentially transition to a monopoly for sports betting. Did that actually come to pass?
No. What's happened? They haven't
There we go.
taken that back per se, but the regulators continue to license and renew operators. I think even as recently as last month. So it's still an active betting market. In terms of online market size, we estimated around 300 million US dollars GGR, 75% to 80% onshore, about 85% of that sports, and there are about 30 onshore operators at the moment. There's also
Okay.
lottery and land-based gaming. Cool, that was good.
What about taxation? What's the tax rate look like?
Oh man, the tax rate for online in Uganda. Let's hope we go out. So the effective tax rate's about 28% of GGR, but there's a 24% GGR tax, but there's also a withholding tax that tends to be covered by the operators, and that's where it starts to get complicated and makes it a bit less attractive. And we go back to the whole customer-based taxation rather than operator-based. I think because it's quite a low withholding tax, what tends to happen a bit is that some of the operators just kind of cover it and suck it up, but that'll depend on the individual operator. Or if, like in many African countries, whether all the operators actually pay all the tax anyway. But in theory, they're the taxes. Right, OPAP.
OPAP. So OPAP was essentially acquired outright by Allwyn. So another M&A deal. How do you feel about M&A this week, Ed?
Look, as soon as M&A happens in the industry, there's all this thing of like, oh, that's amazing, it's transformational. Chances are it's not, okay? To me, and I think what Allwyn have created, over the past few years is fantastic, and they are a big force to be reckoned with in the sector. But this particular deal, literally couldn't give a crap. Like, it's pretty much irrelevant. Good. It's good for OPAP. It's good for OPAP.
It's more of
shareholders.
It's more kind of almost administrative M&A. Like OPAP's results were still reported as part of Allwyn's quarterlies, as well as alongside their own release. So it feels more just like taking it fully in house.
Okay. So what changes? Okay.
Yeah.
In terms of the impact for OPAP investors, I think it's good because they're getting shares in the combined entity, which means they have access to higher growth markets and not just reliant on OPAP in Greece, which has done very well, in fairness, since Allwyn invested in it. It's done well, but there is a certain top that it's going to reach. So for OPAP investors, good. Okay. For analysts like me, it's kind of good because we get more. They report us some Patano data, which we didn't have before. So we got some more data out of this, some more visibility in the market. So I'm happy. Why do I think they did it? To be honest, it's a quick and easy way of getting listed. They have now for the owners of Allwyn, they are now going to be a listed company. So, a bit like when you had SPACs and stuff before, you could argue why they're on the Athens Exchange. Well, there's OPAP, there's Novibet, they can always change, but, it makes them a listed company. So that's the story for them. They become a listed company. In terms of some of the shit that was written about like, oh, this is going to be, shows be transformational for the sector. No, it won't. It makes no difference. Like some of the stuff, you always read all this hype about it, and oh, is this now the next bit into making it a true global powerhouse? And it's like, no,
it's already a global powerhouse.
Yeah, it literally is. It is a nothing story apart from the fact it makes Allwyn become a public company.
I wouldn't say it's a nothing story. I think there are ripple effects and interesting things that people are going to be looking at off the back of this, because obviously you think about the stake in Betano, that you would think, well, maybe a few years ago, you would have thought that they'd look to acquire Betano outright. That's a big business now. Would Betano want to be part of this big conglomerate? I mean, like, the thing about Allwyn is you can obviously see, excellent operational nous. They've done a lot of things really well. They've got a very complex business and they've made it work. There are very, very talented and very smart people across that business. I think with the UK and the National Lottery, they may be being a little bit slow, but I don't think anyone could do such a big transformation programme, without hiccups, because it is a big transformation programme for the UK Lottery.
I agree with all of that. I think the Betano point's interesting. I agree with the UK.
But
I agree with everything you say. I don't see how them buying the remaining 48% of OPAP makes any difference to those questions. They didn't need to buy it to do what they've done in the UK. They didn't need to buy it for Betano to show the strong growth and how well it's done.
Stop getting fixated in the headline. Like the headline, yes, they bought this thing.
Well, that's the thing. We can talk about OPAP and that's fine, but the deal itself is largely irrelevant. The only relevance I think it gives is it probably gives them more ability to raise funds for future M&A. No, it's not.
It's interesting. That is interesting. Like the headline, the headline's whatever. It's more the ripple effects out of these things that people are interested in. But I think it's worth talking about OPAP as a business, because when I started in the industry, it felt a bit chaotic. As a company, it felt like it was struggling. It felt like it was not doing quite as well as it should have done as a massive, essentially as a kind of like fairly expansive monopoly holder. And it feels like over the past 10, 15 years, there has been a big turnaround, hasn't there?
Yeah. It was actually the first company I was given to look at back in 2007. As a wee analyst, when Andy Lee was my boss, and he was like, look at OPAP. Yeah.
Incredible industry legend.
We should get him on to talk about Africa.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've already moved on from that. So, yeah, look, OPAP's done very well, but as you say, there is a limit to, being Cypriot and Greek focused.
Yeah,
so
let's talk about shareholders. Yeah, let's talk about the the latest results. So, what would that have been? Q3 or H1?
Yeah.
I'd quite like you to bring out some data. Actually, do you have any of that?
Oh, I was just giving angry opinions. I thought we'd moved away from data.
No. We need to keep data in there.
Okay, I gave you lots of data on the Olsen twins' clothing.
I know. I mean, we need to stop going back to the Olsen twins. I think it sounds a little creepy now, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does the way you talk about it. Right, so OPAP. Q2 is the latest. So Q2 25 GGR increased by 4.7% year on year to $558 million.
And so, what's the breakdown of that?
Well, there was strong online growth and solid retail performance.
Okay. Want to share any more data behind that?
I'll get my financial model open here. It's quarterly data. Right. To 558. Lottery of 181 million of GGR. That was up 2% year on year and represented 32% of revenues. Betting, 178, 32% of revenues as well, was down 2% year on year. VLTs.
No World Cup. World Cup or major tournament.
VLTs, 80, and I think there's been probably a bit of weakness in the margins as well. These up 7% year on year and 15% of revenues at 86 million. Instants and passives also up 8%, 5% of revenues at 27 million. And online casino is 15% of revenues at 86 million, and that is up 24% year on year. And if we look at the growth rates from Q2 22, it's up 31%, 29%, 32%, 37%, 13%, 26%, 29%, 20%, 48%, 21%, 20%, 24%. So, as you can see, online casino has been a big driver for them. In fact, it had doubled since in the last 3 years.
Well, it's obviously really exciting that that Allwyn have acquired that remaining 48% stake.
I mean, I hardly slept when I heard the news.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of retail, retail's done fine. As well. Retail was 377 million, online 181. Online lottery is still actually very tiny, if you want some facts.
It feels like a in-person product. You know, it's very much around the kiosks, stuff like that.
It's 5% of the lottery revenues, 9 million out of 181. 48% of that's online now.
How
But
does that...
they've got the, cause they have Stoiximin, don't they, in the shops? No, Stahima in the shops, and then there's Stoiximin is the main. It's kind of online.
So just in that online lottery point, this is going to really annoy you. How does that compare to something like FDJ? Because FDJ under Stefan Pale is incredible tenure. Let's be honest. Has
Are you
what?
Is there some polymarket thing where you're just name dropping people and then saying like incredible and things?
No.
All these superlatives. No. Everyone's amazing to you today. You must be.
I'm
in a good mood in your dungeon.
Yeah, I'm in a good mood in my new basement spare room / office. No, what I'm asking is, under Stefan Pale, one of the big tent poles, let's call it, of her strategy has been a big digital transformation push to bring tent pole.
Oh, tent pole.
You know, like a tent pole release or something like that. What would you call it if not tent pole? One of the pillars. All right, one of the pillars. Let's go something quite Greek.
Pillars. Yeah,
pillars. One of the pillars of her strategy has been to grow FDJ's online presence. So I'd be really interested to get an idea of what FDJ's online to retail split for lottery is, just as a point of comparison.
I mean, Q2 25 as well, just to make it like for like. Yeah, 231 million of GGR out of 1.5, so 15%.
Okay, so it's not
massively. Well,
I mean, it's more
4.7 versus 15. I mean, it's
more than OPAP, but it's still very much in the minority.
It is, but let's not forget that Greece as well. A bit like Italy. So Italy's got a tiny... I mean, Italy's much smaller than OPAP in terms of percent online. It's... And, I mean, there's pretty much none. Salai, Once, whichever you want to call them, pretty much doesn't have any in Spain. I know that... not Once. Once, sorry, the one for the blind charity, they do have online. Loterias don't really have anything or not much. So they are kind of, if you're looking at Spain, Italy, Greece, I'd put them all together as kind of still quite cash-based economies, whereas France has probably moved away from that a bit more. Yeah. I mean, it's not the kind of 50% of the UK, but,
no,
or Nordics. So arguably on that basis, you could say that France is possibly underperforming Greece in that respect.
That's an interesting and controversial point.
Well, would you say that digital transformation generally, digital spend in France is much higher than it is in the other countries you mentioned, or not? Is it not clear? Is it not close to the UK? I mean, I haven't been to France for a while, so I don't really know. But I'd imagine that
it's a good point. I mean, I've not lived in France for almost 20 years, which doesn't help. No less than that. Maybe about 15. Just for before I came into the gambling industry.
We can cut that. We can cut that bit out to save time. Anyway, maybe cut out this whole bit because I don't know. But yeah, 15%. No, keeping about the leather trousers. Right. Anything else you want to talk about? I think we've kind of done that. We spent more time talking about Coinbase and Polymarket, which we weren't meant to. Well, you wanted some data, right?
We should look forward next
week. So, random country generator. Ooh, France.
Yeah.
Do you want that? We've just kind of talked about FDJ.
We've done France already when we went. Remember when we did?
Oh yeah, because you've been on holiday there. Yeah, we talked about the casinos. South Korea. I think we've done that, haven't we?
I think we might have done.
Well, it's just because it says kimchi as the food.
Yeah, no, we did talk about that.
Unless kimchi is also the food of another market.
No, because I talked about that Korean restaurant that I liked in Bristol, Dongnai. Yeah.
Marshall Islands. Oh my God. Argentina?
Yeah. I think we've talked about that in passing, but let's actually talk about it in depth.
Okay. Do we want to talk about a company, or given that we alternate between countries and companies each week? Because we tend to talk about news flow, and that gets us quite a long episode.
Yeah, we have talked about news.
We're a bit more opinionated on the current affairs, or by the time this comes out, the current affairs fortnight before.
We seem to be angrier than usual, don't we?
Someone did describe it as me just ranting.
I mean, I think that's very fair.
But at the same time, it meant they had to listen to know that.
We've got another listener.
So, who's the winner there? So I also had a game which is too late to play now, so we'll do it next week.
Okay.
I've had
All
it
right.
for like 6
We'll,
weeks.
right, we'll talk. Okay. And just haven't got around to it. Oh well. It's almost like we should prepare or something.
No, we've just been too busy talking about
The important issues of the day that are affecting the industry. Yes.
/ women's fashion brands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On that note.
Who on that note,
Oh,
who
no.
would you say the most famous person has been from that started on kids TV?
Trying to think of who actually started in kids TV. Did Jodie Foster count? She started out as she was quite like a child actress, and she's pretty big.
No, but I'm talking about like, on Disney or Nickelodeon stuff, not a child actress, not like Macaulay
Alright.
Culkin or something.
Oh, okay.
It's like the Olsen twins are on there, or the guys who are in Keenan and Kel. Oh, I've got one.
Keenan Thompson
No, it's not. It's not.
is
It's not kids TV.
the longest serving Saturday Night Live cast member. Keenan Thompson from Keenan and Kel.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, not him.
Well, I mean, let's face it, it's probably going to be someone like Justin Timberlake.
Yeah,
Or
I think so.
Not Ryan Reynolds, the other one.
Ryan Gosling?
Ryan Gosling?
I don't know. What was he on?
He was in one of the kids' TV things. He was in like Disney Kids or something.
Because we obviously got Will Smith, who's in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but he wouldn't count because
That's
he was
not
just in a TV program.
No,
So, yeah, you got the Olsen twins.
He was already a recording artist before that.
Justin Timberlake was on the kind of Disney one, wasn't he, on Nickelodeon? So was he on? Was Jessica Biel there as well? Or have I just made that up because they're married?
I think
or he's
Britney
married
Spears
someone
was.
like that. See, I wasn't sure about that. There's Britney Spears, Christina
Ryan
Aguilera.
Gosling? I really don't know. I didn't grow up in America, so I didn't.
I'm really glad we cut short our gambling and chat to discuss this.
I mean, well, I was thinking from the UK side, so I was thinking, I don't know, Fern Cotton.
So
Okay.
Hilary Duff. Okay, I don't know.
There's that woman with the ponytail. She was in the film with the witches.
That's it. Selena Gomez, Miley Cyrus, Zac Efron, Demi Lovato, Zendaya, whoever that is. I'd say Miley Cyrus.
I actually know who
Hannah
Zendaya
Montana.
is. She was in a program that was semi-disturbing called Euphoria.
She's known for her role on Shake It Up, apparently, and has achieved massive success as an actress. Jonas Brothers,
I know them from the South Park episode about them.
band that got to start with Disney. I would say Selena Gomez is pretty well known. I would say Miley Cyrus.
Who's the one with the ponytail? Is that Selena Gomez? I think she's a singer, but she's in a film about witches.
Stars in Wizards of Waverly Place. Yeah,
Maybe it is her then.
and has a
She's got
successful career.
ponytail.
Well, I'm sure when she ties her hair back, she does.
But no, it's like this person's famous for having a ponytail or something.
I'm pretty sure Selena Gomez isn't famous for having a ponytail.
Well,
In fact, when she was on Disney, she didn't have a ponytail. In fact, all the images I'm looking, she doesn't want to have a ponytail.
Oh, well, it must be someone else then. But we should stop talking about...
I think she has a ponytail in this YouTube, when she was like... this is uploaded in 2014. I mean, she looks about 6.
I think that's a good point to end the podcast. So, everyone, thank you very much for
I actually
joining
think a
it.
good point to end the podcast would have been 15 minutes ago.
I think I meant to end the podcast entirely.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and take it offline and never do another
Oh,
episode.
no,
never
not
talk
that.
about it.
This is fun. We haven't got merchandise done yet.
I mean, I'm not sure people will be buying the merchandise. I'm probably going to cut a lot of this and just pretend that we didn't talk about it.
No, just leave it in. It's gold. You're too busy, apparently, to do editing. Leave it all in. I don't know why you bother editing it anyway. It's all gold. It's a waste of your time.
On that note, thank you very much for listening. Next week we will be talking about... What will we be talking about, Ed?
Argentina.
Yes, we will.
We haven't talked about any sports this week, so we'll probably chuck something on that. We'll probably find some relevant news flow of someone doing something stupid that upsets me. And
all you needed to say with Argentina, and we can fill in the rest later.
Okay.
So on that note, thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.